Welcome to the video. So for this video today, we're going to do a lot of decoding and just go over an absolute ton of stuff. I foresee this being definitely my longest video I ever make, as the points I have for this video are by far and away the most I've ever had for a video, as well as feasibly, I don't foresee myself ever making a more important video than this. This is definitely going to be probably the most important video I ever make, as you'll see within the video. But yeah, and I also, before I begin, I have to thank a lot of the people who contributed points to this video. There's just an absolute ton to go over. I had to compress a lot of it to make it like a reasonable length. As you see, I have like a million tabs open here, and then we have just like a ton of videos. The kind of source material that we're gonna watch is like that'll be like 6 to 7 minutes in itself. So yeah, this is definitely gonna be a long video, but it's a very important one. So before I begin here, I'll also read a quick and simple gospel. John chapter 3, verse 16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. And that's all you have to do. All you have to do is believe in him. It doesn't matter how good of a person you've been in your life, or how often you've gone to church, or given to charity, or even how often you've prayed. The only thing that matters is believing in his sacrifice on the cross and what he did for us. It has nothing to do with us and everything to do with believing in his sacrifice. Our faith is what separates us from the 10,000 religions in the world that all believe that they're saved through their good deeds and their good works. The only thing that counts towards our salvation is belief in Christ and his sacrifice. That is the only thing. The only thing he asks of us is our faith. It's a free gift, and all we have to do is accept it. Okay, so we have a ton to go over here. So as you can see in my notes, it's definitely longer than any I've ever had for a video. So I'm still gonna take my time through this video, and if it ends up being like 45 minutes to even an hour long, I guess that's all right, because this is gonna be a very important video, and I could foresee this being my last one. So the first thing that we're going to talk about here is just this one point I want to talk about before we get into any of the real decoding and symbolism. So I put their puzzle is our puzzle, so the tribulation saints. So I think a lot of people who see the decoding and kind of like the symbolism and the timelines, they think that it's mainly just for the benefit of the saints to know when they're going to get raptured. But I think it has a much more important value, and that it'll be retrospectively used by tribulation saints in order to identify the nature of their reality, the truth, which is Christ, and to kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together backwards. And I think what we leave behind for them is far greater of importance than us having it, who are already in faith before the departure of the church. So I think this is a very important point, and if you put any YouTube video in your Left Behind kit, I think this is a very good candidate. I think this is going to have a lot of material that's going to be very useful for them. So the second point we're going to look at here is mainly we're just going to talk about reoccurring numbers first. So for me, I saw the number 1111 probably at least once a day for a period of 3 to 4 months. So it carried a great significance, and it popped up so much that I had to find out what it meant. And after I found out what it meant, I just stopped seeing it. So I think that was just a sign from God that I figured out that puzzle, and then there was a next one presented to me. So after the 1111, then I just started seeing 23 everywhere. So we'll talk about the 1111 first, just because I did make a post about this. However, I don't think as many people see the posts for sure as they see the videos. So we'll talk about it briefly. So 1111, I believe, is January 11th, 2024. And this is the anchor point. And I'll explain that here with a picture. So we're going to look at, so we have this date, January 11th, 2024. And this is from the video by God's Roadmap to the End. It's a very good video. And what he found out is, or I believe someone else might have found out, but he presented it. Either way, I digress. January 11th is like the anchor point between celestial signs. So you have a partial lunar eclipse here, 74 days to the right and 74 days to the left of that our anchor point we have. Then you have I believe this is a total eclipse here. Same thing. partial lunar eclipse, full lunar eclipse. I went through and I checked these all out myself, and they do match up. So this is legitimately our anchor point for these celestial signs. So I think it bears a great importance. As you can see, there's our March 14th blood pie moon right there. Over here you have another complete lunar eclipse. So I believe that is the importance. I'll show you why this is 11/11 and not 1/11, which what it appears to be. So we'll just go back to the notes here. So all of our months are named, or for the most part, our months are named after Latin numbers. So Septem, I'll pull this up here. So let's go 7 in Latin. 7 in Latin is Septem. And I'm sure most of you are familiar with the rest. Octo is 8, Novem is 9, Deca equals 10. So if December is our 10th month, then by reason of that, January is our 11th month. So thus, January 11th is actually 11/11. So I believe this is the 11/11, which everyone's been seeing. Even non-Christians, I believe, see this. So this is a very important date. It is hidden in the fact that in their Gregorian calendar, like January is not the 11th month, so that's how I think it's kind of hidden. But after I found this, I just stopped seeing 11/11. So I think that was the sign for me that I kind of figured that out, and I figured I'd include that in this video just because I don't have it in any of my other videos, and probably not a lot of people see the post compared to the videos. So yeah, we included that in here, and I'll just close this down as we go, just because there's a lot of tabs and windows open. But yeah, so the first thing that we're gonna watch here is so in accordance to like the 23, I had seen it for the past week and a half multiple times a day, like very, very often, on several different things like clocks. I have an e-collar for my dog for training, and the remote for it, sorry. I saw 23 like almost every time I looked at it, and it's got like a rough estimate, like you crank a knob up and down. So for it to rest on 23 almost every time was unusual. So, and then I woke up today and I had been awake for half an hour, and I saw 23 at least 3 times on 3 different things. So I thought, like, there's just no way, like, I have to look into this. And that's what kind of, like, spurred this entire video, which is, I believe this will be the most important video I ever make. So very, very interesting with that. But before we begin getting into any of the decoding, we're just going to watch 2 videos here. So I have one from TikTok and another one from YouTube. I don't have the names here for them, but we're going to watch this. We'll watch this one first. So what in essence what these videos are is like this person found in almost any type of disaster or apocalypse movie, it almost always starts on September 22nd to 23rd. It's very heavy in predictive programming. I couldn't like quote unquote fact check every single one that's included in these videos, because a lot of this is like these dates are not on the Wikipedia page for some reason. Like I would have had to like singly watch every one of these movies. So I didn't do that. I fact checked a couple enough to know that this is a reoccurring pattern. But yeah, so we'll just watch this video first here, and I hope I have the sound on. Let's there we go. Something I don't fail to do every video is forget to put that on.
In the TV show Big Bang Theory, an asteroid strike is expected September 23rd. In the movie Seeking a Friend for the End of the World, an asteroid strikes September 23rd. Julia, a meteor strikes September 23rd. Knowing, solar flare strikes September 22nd, lasting until September 23rd. Little Shop of Horrors, humans are threatened by an event, September 23rd. Tomorrowland, disaster strikes September 23rd. 23, hell will arrive September 23rd. Sleepy Hollow, a dimension opens up September 23rd. Ghostbusters, evil is released on September 23rd. This is the end. 9/23 is the date the rapture happens. Pandemic, outbreak starts September 23rd. Either fake aliens, fake Carrington event.
Okay, that's enough of that. But yeah, that was well, so very, very interesting. I didn't fact check all of those, but I'm just going to trust this video as there's another video here which is almost in the same vein of that, which I'm just going to put on now. We'll watch this now. the sound on here. Yeah.
22nd, it's September 22nd, and we're all still here. Awkward.
People, the flood is imminent!
Until September 22nd, midday. And if the ark isn't finished by then, you will be.
Is that when it's going to happen?
Day of the month of September, in an early year of a decade not too long before our own, the human race suddenly encountered a deadly threat to its very existence.
September 14th.
9/14. 14 plus 9 is?
23.
The island. When did you come here? Oh, 60s. What was the date? What was the date? September 22nd. It was September 22nd.
So in all of these cataclysmic end times related movies, you see this very subliminal but very clear message of September 23rd. 22nd, 23rd, and 24th showing up in these movies. And I don't know if it means anything. It probably doesn't mean anything, but everything. I should have just went to the next slide. From Evan Almighty to even Little Shop of Horrors. How many saw Little Shop of Horrors back in 1986, I believe it was? Okay. Dating yourself starts off with this. In the day, the 23rd day of September, the world changed. And horrors and terror came upon the earth.
Okay, is that it for that video? Yeah, that's pretty well it. So, very, very interesting how they have that all kind of like, let's get off that slide, coinciding with September 23rd. So, do I think like this is the beginning of the tribulation or the departure of the church? No, I don't. I think it's much, it's a little more complicated than that. I don't think they work in that kind of like simplicity, but I believe I found exactly what it does mean. So we're going to go into the assumption it's 9/23, so September 23rd. So it took one Google search this morning for me to kind of crack this open here. So I went and I searched up Sagittarius, because if you've seen my previous video, the third quarter moon for this month, which we're going to go into the assumption that like this is the month that we're looking at, like this moon is the quote-unquote last one from Leave the World Behind. And if you watch Robert Pence videos, it's pretty unmistakable that this is the most important month, like the month we're currently in. So, and then when I looked at where I believe the departure of the church is, if you watched my previous video, is around the 22nd, which is when our third quarter moon is in Sagittarius, the Archer constellation. So this morning I just Googled Sagittarius and nothing else, but the first thing it shows us here, Sagittarius is the 9th astronomical sign. So I thought, like, of course it's 9. So there's our 9/23. So this sounds silly, but just keep watching. You'll see it. So we have so the 9/23 is not September 23rd. That's the 9 is the constellation. So Sagittarius and then the 23rd day of this current month we're in. So this is exactly what I believe it is. So we have a lot of material that we're going to go over here to kind of like solidify that theory. So the first thing that we're going to look at, I actually didn't even include it in here, but I'll pull it up now. Actually, I think it is up. So we're going to rewatch this video. This was in my last video and then like my very first video on the channel. But I think this is a very, very useful video in terms of studying symbolism and especially the time period we're looking at. So we'll watch this first here. So this is Marilyn Monroe by Pharrell. So I'll recap everything. I hope this doesn't seem too redundant, but it's going to be very important for this video. So in this scene, everything is in purple. And what that's symbolizing for us is the combination of the blood pi moon, which happened on March 14th, as well as the blue aspect of that moon, as it was blue on the old Roman calendar. So everything's purple here. You have the full moon. So this is our blue blood pi moon here. And then you have this girl in white who's symbolizing the bride of Christ, or the believers. And then his hat's very important throughout this video. It's purple there. So, or kind of like pink lavenderish. And then he goes up to her and she disappears. So what they're symbolizing there is the bride of Christ departing on what appears to be the blue blood pi moon, but if we fast forward to the similar scene later in the video, what they show us here is instead of a full moon, it was actually a third quarter moon. So I'll just go to Moon Giant here, and we'll look at our current month in the moon phase. So our third quarter moon is on the 22nd right there, so lit on the left side. So close that down so we don't have a million tabs open, but that's what they're showing you here. That's the real departure of the church on the 22nd. So we'll keep watching throughout this video here. So the next important scene that we're going to look at is right about, as I said in the last video, I hope no one here has epilepsy, so this isn't bothering them, or worse. So he enters this room here. So this is the important part here. So what you have here is you have your blood moon, your March 14th blood pi moon. You have your snow moon, which is the February full moon. I'll just pull that up there. Let's go snow moon, February. So February's full moon is known as the snow moon, after the heavy snowfall, etc. So that's what they're showing you there, is you have your snow moon and your blood moon. And as they're both, so a blue moon is the second full moon on a full calendar month. So this would be our blue moon here, the blood moon. So they're showing you all the aspects of the last two full moons. You have the snow moon, the blood moon, and the blue aspect for this blood moon right here. So that one's very, very easy. And we're going to fast forward to the next part here, which is going to be the most important part of the video. So this scene I was actually very leery of for a little while, because it seemed almost too obvious to me what they were showing us here. So he has a brown hat with a hole on it, and he's been shot with an arrow. And you'll see there's like a hole on the other side. So we're going to pull up exactly what they're being shown here with that hat. So okay, during years when March is not offering a total moon, the full moon is known as a worm moon. Okay, I don't think that's true actually. I think let's go, what is the March moon called? I think it's called a worm moon regardless of the year. Okay, yeah, the March moon is the worm moon. So that's exactly what they're showing you here with the brown hat with the holes in it. That's symbolizing the worm moon. And he's been shot with an arrow there. And this girl comes up here, and she has a bow. So obviously what they're showing you here is the kind of archer reference to our Sagittarius constellation. So now we're going to go to Stellarium here, if I could find it on my million tabs. So we're on March 22nd, 2025. And what you're being shown here as, this is another very interesting thing. I'll pull up a comment here from earlier today. So it was by Plan B 626. On March 21st at 3:29, 9:23, going into 3:22, we go from Sagittarius, so it's entering Sagittarius right there at that time. I think that's what he's saying in that. So yeah, what we have here is from on the 22nd, our third quarter moon is entering Sagittarius, the Archer constellation. So that's exactly what you're being shown. So you're being shown the third quarter moon during this video, and then they show you exactly where the third quarter moon is, and it is entering the Archer constellation. So Another very interesting part from this is I'll pull up another video. This is a very short one from The Simpsons. This is the very start of the, or close to the start of the Rapture episode. Thank God it's Doomsday. So we'll just watch that now.
Hey kids, I scream, you scream, we all scream first.
Okay, so I'll show you the important part here. So you have Marge, and she's running the spoon along the right side of this triangle. So I'll show you what I believe the significance of this is here. We'll go back to Stellarium. And if you follow the moon as it enters, I'll just use that. If you follow the moon as it's entering Sagittarius, it's running perfectly parallel to the right side of the triangle of the bow. So I believe that's exactly what you're being shown there, with the running the spoon, which symbolizes the moon, on the right side of the triangle. So again, that's in reference. I believe that's in reference to our third quarter moon on the 22nd and entering Sagittarius. So it's very, very interesting. And we'll just keep going in this video here. And in this scene here, he has a black hat on. So his hat throughout the video symbolizes the moon. So a black moon is the second new moon within a single calendar month. So this actually happened on December 30th. So 2024. On December 30th, 2024, a black moon occurred, which is the term for the second new moon in a calendar month. A rare event that happens roughly every 29 months. So right there, they're showing you the black moon. So the perspective from the rest of the scene is the perspective from the black moon. So they show you 1, 2, and 3 full moons. So that's symbolizing our January, February, and our March moon. So there's the last 3 moons before the departure of the Bride of Christ. And then he's up here, and there's this girl here with this interesting shirt. And what they're showing you here is, again, the blood moon, blue moons, and this could be like the snow moon as well. And he's wearing black and white, which is likely symbolizing equinox, which is equal parts day, equal parts night. This occurred on, I believe, the 16th to 17th in Jerusalem. I'll pull that up here just because I'll try and cite everything within this video. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Jerusalem time of day. That's what we're looking for. So if we go down to the 16th and 17th, as you'll see here, this is where between the 16th and 17th you have the equal parts day, equal parts night, 12 hours apiece. So I believe that's what you're being shown as well with the black and white symbolism, which you'll see in this whole scene here. Everything else is black and white. So yeah, very, very interesting. But that kind of decode there shows us that we are in fact looking at Sagittarius around the 22nd, 23rd. So very, very interesting that you have during that date, or as this is going on, you have the ninth astronomical constellation. And then you have the 23rd going on at the same time. So I fully believe that's our 923, as we're going to see as we continue throughout this video. So I'll see what kind of tabs I can close down here just so this gets reasonable. But yeah, so the first thing we're going to look at is actually a picture, which another person suggested here. We'll go to that here. So this was from Mr. Bart. Don't ask me to say this, Van Dyke. Let's assume that's Van Dyke. So in simple gematria, say goodbye. So what we're looking at here is, I'll pull it up now. So this is pretty difficult with so many tabs. But so we have this Economist cover from, I believe, 2015. And there's a lot going on here. It's very interesting. So you have the say goodbye to 1.53 Celsius. So they're talking about climate change. But what you have here is 1-5, and then C is the third letter of the alphabet, or three in gematria. So you have 153. That's your catch of 153 fish. So then you have the arrow here symbolizing Sagittarius. So that's the Archer constellation, and then you have the apple here, perhaps symbolizing the blood moon. So you have your blood moon in Sagittarius, which is exactly the same thing that you're being shown in this Pharrell Williams video. So that's very interesting. And then we're going to go to this comment over here. So In simple gematria, say goodbye to 1.5 Celsius equals 322, which is just insane. So that would be our March 22nd. And from its publication date, okay, it wasn't 2015, it was 2022. So November 5th, 2022 to March 22nd is 868 days. In Strong's Greek, 868 means to depart, withdraw, remove, desert, fall away. So how about that? Like, that is a just incredible cover and find by Mr. Bart here. So that's very, very interesting. So yeah, the next thing that we're going to cover here is this is actually so in essence what we're looking at here is throughout all the symbolism, I kind of understood like the connotations of certain things. I'll just make a note here actually. So 22 equal, it was a positive connotation, and a likely departure of the church. So everything that I found surrounding 22 was a very positive connotation, and everything I found surrounding 23 was very negative. So I get the sense that this is where the departure of the church is, and this is perhaps the beginning of the tribulation, or at the very least the first day where the church is absent. So within these numbers, that's the connotation I found every single time. So what I looked at today is this song 22 by Taylor Swift. So this is this is kind of mind-blowing what I'm going to show you here. So the first thing that we're going to look at here, so we have, this is off the album Red. So let's take a look here. The album is literally called Red. So we'll do a little date calculator first, before we look at the lyrics here. So the albums were released on October 22nd, 2012. So 10/22/2012. So I should also mention first there was a song on the album called 22. So I think it's like one of the more popular songs on the album. So we go from the release date of the album, October 22nd, 2012, to March 22nd, 2025, which is our potential departure, likely departure of the church. So we go to calculate the duration there, and we have 4,534 days, 12 years and 5 months, and then 149 months. So we'll pull up some Strong's correlations here. I don't know if I already pulled these up, so I'll just make a note here. So we got 4, 5. Sorry if this is like one of my least professional videos. I'm kind of like using a lot here. It's much more difficult when you have a million tabs and then like a million notes to like navigate all of this. But yeah, so we'll pull up 4534 in Strong's. And if I recall, this was at least 2 for 3. So in Hebrew, we have hedge. So let's open that up here. So okay, so the term masuka refers to a hedge or an enclosure, often used metaphorically in the Bible to describe protection or a boundary set by God. So that is like the believers being removed and being protected. So right there, it signifies a form of divine safeguarding or barrier that separates and protects. So that's exactly what we're looking for that date. So that's our 1 for 1 right there. So very, very interesting. And now I think the next one's even more interesting. So we'll pull up 125, and this one's kind of mind blowing. So Adam Dam, I don't think I should ever say these things. So this is our Hebrew Strong's correlation for 125, which means literally reddish. So we're gonna go back to the album cover here, literally called Red. So how about that? The album's called Red, has a song called 22, and then we go to our 22 of March, and the Strong's correlation is reddish. Like, how crazy is that? So very, very interesting. And then what I found even more interesting is when I actually looked at the lyrics here. So I recommend just pausing the video and then just listening to this song. It's a very, very, again, like in accordance with our connotations for each kind of date. 22, this song's like very, very upbeat. And there's some very, very interesting lyrics here. So I'll read this part here. So everything will be all right if you keep me next to you. You don't know about me, but I'll bet you want to. Everything will be all right. And then like 22. So within like the context of like Taylor Swift and the song, I don't think it makes any sense in correlation to her. But if you read it, I think it's very clear what kind of like what they're trying to imply here. Everything will be all right if you keep me next to you. This is believers in Christ, and correlating to our 22, to the departure of the church. And then you don't know about me, but I bet I'll bet you want to. So there's your unbelievers right there. So I think that's exactly what they're trying to tell you there, as this has no real relevance as it in the song. It doesn't. It seems very out of place. So yeah, that fits exactly in with like the date we're looking at, and then like the strongest correlation to the date. Having like red to the 22 is just crazy. But yeah, that was a big find. Like that one was very, very interesting. So let's see. The next thing we're going to move on to here is we're just going to look at a couple clips from the Simpsons episode. So I've covered these before, but we're just going to watch them again just to go over, and we're going to see how everything just kind of continues to fit in this this timeline we're looking at.
To the kiddie pool, all right, Mr. Smarty Head Exploder? So if you need further assistance, just call...
So if you haven't watched this episode, this is Homer in heaven after he was raptured.
Front desk and ask for Andre, okay?
Oh, sorry, I tip you, but I don't have any cash.
You know you could wish for some.
I could. Wait, before you go, there's one thing I gotta know. What happened to my family?
Heaven has a wide array of fine dining just steps from your room. Have a light bite at the Pope of Sandwich Village.
Okay, let's see.
Another interesting correlation from this is he's smoking the cigar, which they also have in the Lavender video, which has a strong concordance, a gematria value of 38 ordinal, which 38 is I believe the Julian date for our March 22nd. So there's that reference there.
Earth is channel 23.
So he says Earth is channel 23, and I think this part's like incredibly telling. So I think the significance of 23 is like this is the first day or full day that the church is not going to be there. If this denotes the beginning of the tribulation, I'm not entirely sure, because I think that would require the Daniel 9:27 covenant, which is strengthened by the AC, which I don't know if this is going to happen within that time frame, but I think at the very least, this is like the church is gone and your chance to be saved from the wrath is gone. So I think Earth being channel 23 is very fitting. So
23, I think.
So that's like they're showing you like the tribulation there. So that part's very interesting. And then we're gonna go over to this scene here. We're gonna watch this one as well.
My rapture. I went to Lisa's school play, which had serious pacing problems.
Okay, so you have like the full moon there, and this is like there's a very strong resemblance to Pi. So what they're showing you here could be our Pi blood moon, and the wolf howling there. There was a wolf moon, which is the January full moon, that happened on January 13th, which I believe corresponds to a date which is also corresponds to the Pi blood moon on a different calendar. I hope that made sense. I believe the date was 11/3, so that's basically your 1/13 January date. But yeah, that's not really the point of the video. We'll just okay. So this is the interesting part here. So Homer does this kind of countdown here.
2, 1.
So 3, 2, 1, and then he's like hoping to be raptured here. So I think like this, as with all of their symbolism, I think they have like two meanings. So the kind of 3, 2, 1 countdown could be to the Romans, could be to symbolize New Year's, which I think on March 16th was the New Year's on the old Roman calendar. So that's very well what could be being referenced here. But I think what's also being shown here is you have 3, 2, 1, and we're going to assume this is March 21st. And then he's disappointed, nothing happens.
Oh, I'm wrong again! I'm nothing but a big fat...
And then he gets raptured here. So I think what they're implying here is like it's not March 21st, and then he's going up either a couple seconds past, so he's going up on either the 22nd or the 23rd, I guess depending on time zone. So
I was right!
I think that's exactly what they're showing you here, which again fits in with the rest of our symbolism.
And there's the Earth. Oh.
That always cracks me up. There's the Earth, but yeah, that's I believe what they're showing you there, because there's a lot that's going on in this scene. It seems so he's symbolizing the moon. There's Saturn, I believe what this is showing, Saturn represents Satan, so I think this is, as he's going up, Satan is going down. So in the reference to the verse, I beheld Satan as he, or I beheld Satan as he fell from heaven. But I think that's what they're showing you there. The church is going up, Satan is going down.
My rapture.
So very, very interesting with that. But yeah, this is all just, it's all fitting together very, very well, especially with the 22, 23. So because our question right now is not, are we in the correct month? Because I think with all the symbolism, and especially what's happening right now with the peace being made, and Yemen and Iran now being pulled into the fold, I think it's very, very obvious that our departure is soon. So the question now becomes not which month, but which day. And I think this is really narrowing down on the day. And we have quite a bit more to go over here as well. So now we're going to get into a bit of the funny stuff, actually. So we're going to go to the national holidays here. I actually had a laugh at like both of these. These just blew my mind. So this is the national holidays on March 22nd. So we have National West Virginia Day. And you know what this made me think of? So let's go Take Me Home Country Roads by John Denver. I obviously can't play this song because I'll get copyrighted, but we'll pull up the lyrics here. Let's see, we're at West Virginia here. Almost heaven, West Virginia. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home country roads. So the whole song is about going home in West Virginia, and wouldn't you know it, on our what we're looking at is the rapture, most likely rapture date, National West Virginia Day. Like, how funny is that? I had such a good laugh at that. I love that song too. So that's very, very funny. And we'll go to the next day. So this one might be even funnier, honestly. Like, not obviously not going to be funny for who's left, but on the 22nd or the 23rd here, we have National Near Miss Day. Like, you gotta be kidding me. And then you have like an asteroid heading towards Earth in the picture. Like, insane. National Near Miss Day, as in the church had a near miss, or like obviously not a near miss, but left before disaster. So just crazy. That one's just nuts. So we'll go on to a couple other ones here. This one I found very, very interesting. So in looking up kind of correlations, I wasn't just looking at March 22nd and 23rd. I was looking at September 23rd because in their symbolism, that's 9/23, even though the 9 represents Sagittarius. So the Shawshank Redemption, a movie about him being, I believe, I haven't seen the full movie. I've only seen pieces of it. I think I'll try and watch the movie this week. But I believe he's wrongly accused, and he escapes from prison, and that's like the whole gist of the movie. So release dates, in the United States, September 23rd, 1994. So 9/23, he escapes from prison. Like, that's crazy. What do you know? So that one's very, very interesting. And now we're going to go to, in probably I didn't have a slide pulled up for this, or a tab, but let's go September 23rd here. So we have I'm sure most of you know, the Revelation 12 sign occurred on September 23rd, 2017. So there's your 9/23 for the Revelation 12 sign. So very, very interesting. This was kind of thought-provoking for me because from my understanding, the enemy knows exactly when the events are going to take place. There is the people who will tell you, like, no man knows the day or the hour. However, I believe that's kind of like a tongue-in-cheek reference to the Feast of Trumpets. And I believe Christ will return at the end of the tribulation in kind of like fulfilling the fall feast in kind of like a boom, boom, boom way that he did with the spring feast, in that he'll return on Feast of Trumpets. You could have like the Battle of Armageddon on the Day of Atonement, and then Tabernacles is like bringing in the millennial reign. So I think it's very interesting, and that like it seems like the enemy does know when their time begins. So this kind of this seems like something that like maybe led to them figuring it out. However they figured it out. But you have your 9/23 here with the Revelation 12 sign. So that one's very, very interesting. If you have any thoughts on that, I'd love to hear it in the comments. That part was one of the most interesting parts for me throughout this whole kind of thing. And this kind of like 923 Sagittarius and then like the 22nd and 23rd. It runs way deeper than what I'm including in this video. When I started looking at this, it was like almost opening up a kind of like a labyrinth. I almost had to like start. I actually did had to start removing a lot of things because otherwise the video was just getting like the tabs were just getting insane, and I don't. So I just included the most important things, as I don't want to make this like a part one, part two, part three. I want to make this like a very like concise video. So yeah, that's very very interesting as well. And then we'll go to a couple more things here. So let's see. So what day did the bombs drop in Fallout? So this is your Fallout video game and like the whole lore around that. Happened on October 23rd. So you can probably just ignore the October and then the year. And then we have the 23rd. So that just coincides again with our kind of like 23rd equals the day of disaster. So very, very interesting with that. But yeah, I think that pretty well it concludes. Oh, actually, there is one more thing. We're going to look at the knowing. So yeah, I missed that point actually. So this is the kind of like number sheet the kid had in the movie. And then down here you have your 101 and then 33, where 33 is like that would be your Julian date for the for March 16th. But right above there, and they have many other different places throughout here. You have 920. I'll zoom in a bit. You have 923. So having that like just hovering above the end there, I believe this is the date of hidden importance. I think when you study symbolism, the kind of blue pie blood moon is going to stick out very, very easily. But I think the date that they concealed very well is that kind of like 923, Sagittarius on the 23rd. I think that not many people would think that would make sense there, where you would have a constellation and then a date. So I think this is their secret. This is their very well hid kind of correlation. So I think that's exactly why this is like a very important video to save for those left behind, because I don't think very many people are going to find that correlation between Sagittarius being the 9th constellation. So yeah, this is a very important one. But yeah, just above the end here, you have 923. So there's our like Sagittarius 23rd day. That's your beginning of the tribulation. And then I believe I have a tab here with the release date of the knowing. So released in USA on March 20th, 2009. So you just look at that backwards. There's your 2-3. There's your 23 right there, just hidden. So very, very interesting. There is one other correlation I found, which is I wasn't entirely sure if this was intended or not. So I'll just read this here. So history of National Great American Pot Pie Day. So not pie, but pot pie. This celebration, specifically dedicated to the American version of the pot pie, was started by Mary Callender in 2002. It falls on September 23rd every year, so marking a day to enjoy this warm, comforting dish. So you have your 923 here. So what we've kind of figured out is your Sagittarius and then the 23rd day. So if this is the quote-unquote pie day, as if you've seen in my previous videos, you have the pie number and sign hidden in quite a few of the occult movies like Back to the Future and such. So if this is the date that's kind of hidden, which is intended to be Pi Day, as all of you know, nothing happened on Pi Day, even though they showed the pi symbol in Back to the Future. I don't think it would be an extreme stretch to assume that like what is actually being intended is March 23rd, which is obviously hidden in like the 923, and then you have your Pi Day there. So you can tell me in the comments if I'm reaching with this. I'd love to hear the feedback. But for this seemed very, very interesting to me, because that really just kind of coincided with like we're looking at 22nd being the departure of the church, and then 23rd being that kind of disaster day. So yeah, that was kind of an interesting correlation. It seems like it's reaching, but at the same time, I feel like it's not. So yeah, very, very interesting there. But that concludes like pretty well everything I wanted to look at in this video. I'm not sure how long this ended up being, but in conclusion here, so rapture date we're looking at, March 22nd. No change from the last video. That's our third quarter moon, which lit on the left side, dark on the right. could perfectly symbolize our unbelievers, believers, wheats and tares, sheeps and goats. I think if this is when the division happens, it would be perfectly symbolized in the moon. And then for tribulation, or at the very least the period after the church departs, this is our March 23rd date. So this is the date that you do not want to be here for, because then you're locked in for the rest of it. But yeah, I think that's what we're looking at here. It's going to be, I think, just from looking at the news briefly today, for most of the day I just kind of focused on making this video, but I still glanced at the news occasionally. And I saw that peace deal is just moving ahead. The hook is out to pull Iran into the fold for perhaps a renewal of the Abraham Accords. So as far as everything I can see, it's like everything is on track. Like everything is lining up. I think we may have, Robert Pent and I may have jumped the gun with thinking that the kind of March 14th to 16th date was our departure, but I think it's right around the corner. And with everything that I've been shown here, and just the fact that the Lord wanted me to see this, that he showed me 23 so many times, I had like no other choice other than to look into it. I think this is exactly what he wanted me to find. And I'm just really grateful that I was kind of given this job. It means a lot to me. But yeah, these are the dates we're looking at, and I guess we're just going to watch the rest of the week and see how everything unfolds. But yeah, thank you for watching the video, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope this gave you a lot of hope, and I hope this just inspired you to realize how close we are, and inspire you to just make sure you have those left behind kits. Leave some hints with your friends. Like I have this one agnostic friend, or I think he's actually just atheist, but his name's Mike, and I leave him all these jokes about like the Christians are leaving soon, and you're gonna be stuck here with and I just list all these terrible people. But yeah, I just leave like notes, so like maybe after the church leaves, then maybe they'll think like, oh, like maybe he was telling me the truth in like a subtle way. But yeah, I think there's always things you can do. I think we're at the point here where like you can pray for people, but at the same time it's like God gave you free will, and like everything is a choice. Like I don't believe in Calvinism where like everything is predestined and you have like that would essentially mean you have no free will. I think everyone has free will. So ultimately your choice to believe in Christ is up to you. And I think there's obviously some people that are just not going to come to that. And if they realize that they were left behind, which I think a great many will, as the reference to the tribulation saints in the book of Revelation, I think it describes them as there's too many to count. So I think these people are living in, they don't realize it, but it's a blessed time for them. Because I think throughout the bulk of history, or at least the past 2,000 years, many people kind of went quietly to their grave without ever seeking the truth, without ever knowing Jesus. So I think in a way, these tribulation saints, they're kind of blessed in that everything is going to be very in their face. Like if they pick up a book, the book of Revelation, and they read that, they're going to see the two witnesses, and then like the demonic locusts, and they're going to see everything that they're going through, and it's going to be so in their face that they're going to have no choice but to come to that faith. So I think we shouldn't necessarily feel bad for the tribulation saints, because I think they're very, very lucky they live in this time, the time that they're living in, because they're going to come to that faith that like they probably wouldn't have come to throughout the rest of their life if they just carried on in their kind of like ignorance is bliss kind of mindset. So yeah, I think regardless if you're a believer or an unbeliever, like this is a very, very important time to live, and you should be grateful that you're living through this time. Like I'm very grateful I was given this job, and it's meant a lot to me, and I hope it helps a lot of people. And it's far-reaching, because you never know how far-reaching some of your actions might be. Like I've mentioned this in previous videos. Like let's say you just live alone and you don't even really know anyone. Like you just moved to a city, and then you leave a USB with all of these videos on it, and then someone's going to find that. Like someone will enter that house eventually, and then they find the USB, and maybe they watch it, and they tell like 2 or 3 friends, and then they tell some people, and then maybe they tell someone who already had a YouTube channel with like thousands or a million viewers, or subscribers, and they put out a video, and then as a result, like tens of thousands of people are saved. So you have no idea how far-reaching your consequences may be just by simply like leaving a USB like on a desk with a note. Like you have no idea how far that could go. So as always, I just recommend everyone leave something behind, because it's going to be very, very important. Like you might not feel like it is, but it very well could be. But yeah, that's everything I wanted to put in this video, and I'm sorry if this ended up being too long or there's too much of a monologue, but I just thank you for watching, and yeah, thank you for everything. And please, as always, please like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends. God bless you. Thank you.